Aloha, ʻanaʻe kākou, and welcome to this special conversation presented by Huakaʻi ʻIke ʻAina at the University of Hawaiʻi, West Oʻahu. My name is Ioane, and today we're honored to be joined by Jahnna-Marie Kēhaulani Kahele Madali. She's a dedicated practitioner, educator, and advocate for the vital role of Niu in Hawaii's food system. Together we're going to talk story about the cultural, ecological, and health dimensions of coconuts and how revitalization of our relationship with this amazing ancestral species can inspire healthier, more resilient communities across ko ʻAina Hawaii. Aloha Kēhau.
Aloha.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, thank you. Could you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your work.
Ai. Aloha mai kākou, oa o Kēhau. He kama wau no nā kuli. Aloha mai kākou, everyone. My name is Kēhau. Home for me is on the west side in Nanakuli. I'm here on behalf of Niu Now, and I'm so honored to be here and blessed to be able to share ʻIke of Niu.
Mahalo nui. Yeah, could you please just start off telling us a little bit about what does Kumu Niu mean, and in what ways does the coconut act as a kumu, a teacher for us?
So Kumu, yeah, as we all know, Kumu is a teacher. And when you talk about the Kumu Niu, you think about something that teaches us many things. And when we get into learning about this coconut tree and this tree of life, we understand every aspect of it, how every part of this tree was utilized and for different functionalities and purposes. And when we get into the stages, we'll kind of deep dive a little bit into why this stage was utilized for this purpose and why did we utilize this for this. And so super important to understand it in all of its aspects of life.
Awesome, cool. Well, it looks like you brought a lot of amazing things to show us here, and I want to get time to go through all of this stuff. So let's move right into it. Let's talk about all these stages.
All right. Okay, so starting off, the first stage we got here is ʻoio, and for all my Lawaiʻas out there, yeah, ʻoio is like the fish. And so when you get into this one, the skin and the meat is super slimy, and so it kind of looks like the outside of the ʻoio. And when you eat the mashed ʻoio, it's super slimy. And so the ʻoio stage is to really define that translucent and jelly-like flesh. And they kind of call this stage the spoon meat. So you can just grab a spoon or a scraper and you can just eat it and scrape it right out of the coconut. This is a lot of the favorites among my family because it's easy to eat. So this is the first stage ʻoio. And when we get into the second stage, yeah, this is hauhau. And the way you can tell the difference is there's this ring right here, right around this corner. And so this one you can tell is a lot younger because it has this white right around. And when we get to hauhau, it kind of starts to darken. And so hauhau, this is the stage that is actually best to drink the wai. So the water will be the sweetest in this stage. And in the next stage we have ʻilikole. And ʻili is skin, kole is raw. And so when they talk about this stage, they talk about how you would eat this meat right out the coconut, and you would eat it with salt and poi actually. And so this was the Hawaiian favorite. It's kind of getting right in the middle of the stages of maturity, and so the meat is kind of that perfect consistency where it's not too soft, it's not too hard, it's kind of just perfect chewing size. And so this ʻilikole stage is kind of right there in that middle. And for us, we also use it to make cordage. So this one that I have around my neck, this is from the ʻilikole stage, and this is kind of that husk that you'll get. Yeah, so you'll soak it. After you husk it, you'll get a piece. You'll soak it for 6 months, a little bit more, depending. The longer you soak it, the easier it is to beat and to take apart. And then it'll go through different rinsing stages until you can get it to this perfect texture right here, and to where there's no clumps, no clunks, nothing. And you can actually start to make kaula out of your aha.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so this is kind of, and all the stages you can do aha. We just find that this stage is the easiest to soak it and pull it apart.
Oh, okay.
Because the skin, yeah, the water starts to absorb in these stages, kind of making it a little bit heavier. And so as it matures, it's kind of losing its water, so it's kind of getting a little bit lighter.
So there's that sweet spot for this one.
Yeah, so like this ʻilikole is like that sweet spot for eating, sweet spot for making aha, making kaula, just that perfect consistency.
Okay.
And then when we get into the middle stages, yeah, this is kind of right in the middle. This is o'o. Personally, this is my favorite stage. I feel like o'o is kind of like that middle child in your family that people forget about. And it's kind of, there's a lot of uses for o'o as well. And so o'o, if you can feel that, it feels a lot lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no water in that as compared to this ʻIlikole stage where you can feel it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, despite the size difference.
Yeah.
And so.
And this is the one you connect most with.
Yes, I love this stage because o'o, yeah, it was an ancient instrument used to cultivate. Kalo, you use it to huki, mai'a, to plant all different types of plants. And as a mahiai, you know, I really connect with that and utilizing the tools in your basket.
Yeah.
And so o'o, this is the perfect stage. You can tell when you're trying to identify, you kind of feel it. Yeah, it kind of starts to get a lot lighter, and as it goes on, yeah, you kind of see all these brownings start to happen versus when you go to this oio stage. Yeah, the skin is super smooth. Yeah, you don't really see too many wrinkles. And so just kind of seeing that loss of that water starting to absorb, starting to dissipate. And so this stage is actually used for coconut milk.
Mm-hmm.
So the meat inside, yeah, the flesh, it starts to get harder. And the reason why you wouldn't do cream for these stages is because the meat is so soft.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get to this middle stage, this meat is kind of that perfect hardness, if you can feel that. Super thick.
Yeah.
And so you would scrape that.
Mm-hmm.
You would use your husk, put water, and squeeze.
Yeah, this is the kind I'm used to eating right here.
Yes.
Put it back here.
And so yeah, o'o, this is a stage I like to say it's initiating that time to prepare the soil for planting. And so when we get into the next stage, which is malo'o, this would be the stage that you'd want to plant. This is, even though it looks dried on the outside, yeah, malo'o is a dried coconut, there's still water inside. So if you was to shake this, you can hear that. Yeah, you can hear that water in there. And so normally, when people don't know things about coconuts and they see this on the ground, they'll kind of disregard it. Yeah, so it's kind of, this stage is really teaching us to appreciate the unappreciated. And so this stage is the stage that we would plant. We would scarified it in the sense like this, yeah, to kind of just help that sprout grow a little bit. It'll either come up here through the top, which would be ku, and then through the pico. Yeah, cultural identification, if it comes up here, you would consider that a male, and through the pico, it would be a female sprout. Yeah, kind of like how this one is. And so malo'o, yeah, o'o is preparing that time for the soil, and malo'o is that time for planting. And so each stage has its time and its purpose, and this stage is super important for us right now, yeah, because we're in the time of planting, and it's super important to get these keiki in the ground for that next generation, yeah, to come and flourish. And when we get into the next stage, this would be the hoʻoiho. A lot of people like to open these ones, and there's that iho inside, or that haku, and it's that super spongy pulp. Yeah, that embryo on the inside that grows. And they call it cotton candy. They kind of eat it. And it's all that water that kind of starts to absorb into that sprout and causes this to come out. This stage, we really try to stay away from opening because we really want to plant. And so it is a delicacy, but for other people to understand that you do have to sacrifice a keiki in order to eat it. And so in the time that we're in now, we like to safeguard these ones a little bit more and try to get these guys in the ground.
And this one is wahine?
Yes, yeah, right through the pico.
Okay.
And then could you pass me
Sure.
that last one? And when we get into our last stage, ʻOkaʻa, there's a name that describes the sound when you shake this, and it's that rattling. And so that's ʻakaʻa. And so ʻOkaʻa is the name of this stage where the coconut is completely dried out. And this for sure, if someone was to see this and shake it, they'll be like, oh. It's the difference between a waste and a resource. And for us, we want to utilize everything that we can, everything in our basket, all of our tools. And ʻOkaʻa, this is actually my friend Jesse's favorite stage. He loves this stage because this stage is perfect for making ʻApu. And so, as you can see right here, this is an ʻApu. And so this was a ceremonial cup for drinking ava. And there's different types of cuts, you know, depending on your rank, depending on what type of person you are. And some of it is preference as well. And this is what a finished up would look like. And there's elongated Niu and a little bit rounder Niu. So to kind of see the difference, there's these right here. Yeah, round. Same as this one, super, super round. And then we get into the more elongated Niu. Yeah, here. So what I like to tell my students is the elongated Niu, yeah, it's kind of shaped like a va'a. So we imagine that these are the coconuts that would float and end up dispersing into other places. And the circular Niu, these are kind of made more for domestication, for eating.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's also different varieties. So when we get into why shape is important, yeah, these ones that are longer, yeah, they have more husk inside. So there's a variety called Niu Kafwa, and it would be utilized specifically for making kaula. Yeah, there's a lot of aha in here because the shell would be a lot smaller. Yeah, so there's more room for cordage and the husk and the pulu.
So you're getting longer strands out of that one,
Yes,
so it's
yes.
better for splicing. That makes sense. Okay.
And when you get to these circular coconuts, yeah, there's a lot more meat that can be in here. Yeah, a lot more meat, a lot more water. So these were grown a lot more for sustenance. Yeah. And so this is kind of just a little bit of all the different types of coconuts there are. It can be as small as this, fully developed. Yeah, this can fit in the size of my hand. And this was, I picked this in the Oka'a stage. You can kind of shake this and kind of hear that one a little bit. And it can be as big as this. Yeah. Super, super big difference. Yeah, difference in variety, difference in purpose. There's some smaller Niu like this, maybe a little bit bigger than this, that would be used as whistles. And functionality or purpose for these ones, yeah, they were mostly made for containers or bowls. Yeah, so all coconuts are special, super rare. Some of them are rare, some of them are common, but it's really, really cool to see the difference in how small and how big you can get.
And what are some of the challenges that you're facing with Niu right now?
So right now there's this beetle. It's called the coconut rhinoceros beetle, and it's attacking our trees and infiltrating the systems which safeguard all of our Niu and our future generations of Kanaka, all of our sustenance. And so right now we're just in that time where we're trying to figure out how do we control them, how do we bring the population down, and how do we protect our trees? Yeah, why is it important to protect our trees? And when we get into mo'olelo, when I get into this ʻApu right here, this is from Huakaʻi. And a lot of people born and raised on the west side, they go to Huakaʻi Bay growing up. And so Huakaʻi was a voyaging chief from Kahiki who brought coconuts, and he planted his groves right there on the Waianae coast. Queen Emma talks about in her journal how this is some of the sweetest Niu that she ever tasted. And for us, I believe, why is this important? Yeah, why is mo'olelo important? And coming from a place where you're basically drowning in stereotypes, yeah, it's because we don't know these stories. Yeah, we don't know why we got royally recognized by the highest of highs at that time. Yeah, in that time, the queen said, these Waianae coconuts are the sweetest coconuts she ever tasted. And it's not really common for people to really talk a lot about good stuff that we have, and especially because it's a lot hotter, it's a lot drier on our side. So people talk about how we couldn't grow anything, but when you hear stories like that, it kind of brings you back. Yeah, it kind of brings you back to your identity. Like, we did have a food basket here. We were growing coconuts, we were cultivating, we were practicing. And so getting into these stories, yeah, and getting into these coconut grows, yeah, these ulu Niu, yeah, why are they important to grow, to protect, yeah?
Yeah, well, what do you think that is? Like what is the kauna to you, and like connecting with Niu as a people?
For me personally, I think Niu is the tree of life, yeah. Just as we talked about, you can utilize it in every single stage, no matter what. This is like a year's worth of growth. And for other plants, yeah, it's different plants. But with this being a tree, Kumu And you can use it in all aspects, not just the stages and the coconuts, but in the leaves as well. Yeah? We're not only cultivators of Niu, practices of growing Niu, but also weavers. Yeah? When people think about weaving, the first thing you would think about is hala, right? Weaving hala. But you could also weave lau Niu. Yeah? You can weave baskets, you can weave ʻIke to hold things, all different types of things. So from the lau, and even to the trunk, yeah? You would make pahu out of the trunk. And so from the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree, every part of it was used, and there was nothing that was wasted. So as that tree lives through 3 generations of ohana, yeah? You plant that tree, it'll live to about 100 years, maybe more. And when it's time to cut it down, then you turn that tree into pahu, yeah? So you can utilize it while it's nourishing, and then after its life is done. And so I feel like people need to understand how special that is to get all of this from one tree. Yeah.
And how do you think we do that in this time with all these different threats and the way that coconuts are seen? I mean, I understand coconuts are essentially used ornamentally all through Waikiki, places in town, seen as a hazard in all these different ways. So, you know, that's why it's so great you're here to share all these different things, and just wondering what people can do to be better stewards and perpetuating these heritages of Niu.
Yes, I think there's a lot of methods. A lot of people do a lot of different things. For us personally, we don't really like to spray our trees because we want to be able to eat these coconuts, drink the water, use it for other different types of purposes. So we've kind of adapted a practice that it's called teken netting. And so it's this monofilament netting, fishing netting, that we use to cover our mulch. Mulch management is of uttermost importance because that's where the coconut rhinoceros beetle breeds. Yeah, they breed in the mulch. It's that perfect environment for them. They like the hot. And so they'll breed in there, and then they'll come out and they'll find the trees. And so it's super important to manage your mulch, turn your mulch, net your mulch, and even if you have to net your tree. Yeah, and it's to where you can wrap your tree and it won't suffocate it. So if you do it the right way, there's ways that the diamonds are. So if you put it this way, it'll stretch, yeah? But if the diamonds are facing up and down like this, it'll go up and down the tree, yeah? But when a tree grows, it'll expand this way. And so as long as you keep the netting loose, right around the trunk, right around that crown, because that's initially where they want to get. So if I'm looking at this right here, if this was the tree, they want to get to this heart, yeah? So when we wrap the little bit bigger trees, or even the seeds, yeah, there was a time where we had to wrap all of our seeds, yeah, because they would eat this, they would get in here, eat the heart, and ultimately the seed would die. And so what the beetle is looking for is the softest point of the coconut. And so they want to try and get into here, and they want to eat. And when you see those V-cut shapes of the trees, initially, in my thinking, they're eating away at all those veins that's connecting, yeah, to that growth. And so as they eat away at that, it starts to stunt the growth of the leaves. And so they're ultimately trying to get in there, and it'll kill the tree completely. And so it's super important to understand this, yeah. And there's different type of methods that you can try, and it's just up to you how you want to manage it. And it's really just, at the end of the day, maluming your tree.
Right.
Yeah. They talk about mo'olelo, how parents would plant trees for their kids, and so if that tree got sick, they'll know their kid would get sick. So just drawing that line to that spiritual connection, like coming back to the idea that we need to take care of the things that we're growing, yeah, the things that nourish us, yeah, so that reciprocity type of relationship.
And it's that two-prong, like you have to malama the tree, but then you have to manage all of your space and surrounding areas, manage your mulch, be diligent in inspecting, and what are some methods that people are doing, like beyond that, with managing for all of those larvae and things like that in the mulch? Are you netting the mulch as well?
Yes, yeah. So we net our mulch. Sometimes there's like mongoose that will run through our mala, and we've kind of found that they like to eat the larva. So we kind of don't bother them, and we let them eat the larva because we have places where we're growing trees, and then we have uala beds right around, and so they're kind of getting into those uala beds, and that's where all the larva is kind of sitting and waiting to get into the tree. So really netting is important, and super important planting. Yeah, replanting and regrowing for the next generation, because you can only do so much, and it doesn't matter what you do, there's always going to take maintenance. And so if we can set up this next seed, or this next nursery in order for it to grow, then that's how we can help to protect these trees, to keep it growing, keep it going, and keep the lineage of that tree, the mo'olelo of that tree, the stories of that tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been honored to be a part of some of your ulu Niu and watch the way that you're helping perpetuate some of these different lines of Niu and varieties of these of this species. And how many do you think you guys have saved doing that?
Oh, saved?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because there was a danger, right? Like things were looking bad for certain varieties where they were decimated, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Personally, like, we've probably planted, I think my mentor Indigit, so pretty much this was all possible because of Indigit and Auntie Manu.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're kind of the spearheads of this movement of Niu Now, this grassroots movement. And so Indigit comes from southern Sri Lanka, and that's the coconut capital of the world. So he basically brought all that ʻIke of coconuts and he taught it to us, and we've all broke out into our own practice of it. And so when you get into all of this coconut stuff, you kind of try to understand it on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're planting and we're growing ulu Nius and these coconut groves, we understand it from how they did it in the past. These ancient royal groves that they would plant, not only for sustenance, but also for nourishment spiritually, for nourishment physically. And so when we really get into these stories and connect that coconut to us, it gets on that deeper level where we appreciate it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you think folks can do for being more aware and helping? Do you have anything set up where people can contact folks and have them take a look at different varieties that you have in places, and if they see they're in danger of losing some of their trees, what are things people are doing to if they can't go and implement all these things themselves with netting and all that kind of stuff, like how are they managing that, like, out in community?
I think just being able to be aware is the first important thing. And there's actually, so city and county, though, they do this planting in Miley, and the last time that they did it, I was there for the past 2 years, they actually gave out free netting.
Mm-hmm.
And so when there's organizations like this that are blessed with stuff and they bless other people, in terms, I think that helps out community. So I think it has to start on a larger scale and a larger platform to where we can get these materials, get access to these things, and give it to our community. Because I think the biggest thing is the unknown. Yeah, a lot of people don't know what the beetle is, don't know how it works, how it moves, and how to get access to these materials. So I think really just being able to share and connect people with the right people.
Right.
And just managing, like, knowing where you get your stuff from. Like, I think a big thing of the beetle spreading was the transportation of mulch.
Right.
Yeah, it was in soil bags, it was in a lot of different things. And I think just knowing, okay, maybe I should check this before I put it into my garden.
Mm-hmm.
And sifting through it, seeing if there's larvae, and just really educating yourself on these different types of things. And then getting into that management part where you net, look for it. And there's a number that you call that they'll come and they'll assess. And even us, if people from our community ask us to come and look at trees, we'll go and look at them, and we'll try to do the best that we can to kind of advise them on maybe next measures that they could do. But ultimately, it'll come down to how you personally would like to handle it, and if you're willing to put in the work, because it is maintenance. It is maintenance, and you do have to put a lot in, and it's not something that you can just do one time and hope that it'll go away. So I think just netting and replanting. I think replanting is a really, really big thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you have a favorite variety?
Variety?
Yeah.
Of Niu, I love them all. I can't pick one. That would be a
put you on the
dishonor
spot
to the
right
coconuts.
there.
Yeah, I love all the varieties. I have my special stage that I love, but I think it's just it's so diverse, and there's so many different ones that you can use. I know it's such a basic answer, but
I think that's it's amazing to see yourself and Jesse, Indrajit, Auntie Manu, Kekaula, everybody's just so dedicated. I mean, I feel like the work that you've all done has really been instrumental in helping preserve and perpetuate all this. And you know, I think if you weren't doing it, people would be out there just spraying chemicals all over trees, and you know, we would be losing a lot of varieties, a lot of different lines, and so yeah, we just I know everyone in our community is super grateful for all the work that you're doing with this, and just wanted to mahalo you for coming in and sharing all of this with us and bringing all these great things to display here. And is there any place people can go to learn more, or like a website or any kind of stuff that you can recommend?
Yeah, the Niu Now website is under Pu'uhonua Society, so it'll be a drop down. But you could also just search us up on Facebook or Instagram, and we kind of just update on all the trips that we take, all the plantings that we do, and kind of just the work and the ʻIke that we're blessed to be able to share within communities, outer communities, and just throughout Hawaiian, really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, mahalo again.
Mahalo nui.
Yep. And thank you everybody for tuning in. On behalf of Huakaʻi ʻIke ʻAina, University of Hawaiʻi, West Oʻahu, we really appreciate everyone's viewership, and mahalo.
Mahalo.